Number 10. The Triceratops Skull. An amazing Triceratops skull was recently excavated in South Dakota. It's 7 feet or 2.1 meters long, and it weighs a whopping 3,000 pounds. That's 1,361 kilograms. The fossil is, without a doubt, one of the coolest dinosaur discoveries ever made in the Badlands of South Dakota. David Schmidt with the Westminster College in Fulton led the group in the excavation, a group that usually only finds small fragments of dinosaur bones. They couldn't believe it when they dug up an entire Triceratops skull, which apparently dates back 66 million years. The skull has been dubbed shady and may be part of a larger skeleton buried just nearby. The team was able to transport the fossil using a flatbed truck to a secure location, where it's currently waiting for enough funding to be properly restored. As of now, there's no information on how the Triceratops died or anything of the sort, but hopefully more digs in the near future will reveal additional information about the life of this legendary dino. Number 9. Woolly mammoth skeleton. Speaking of amazing skeletons, the remains of a woolly mammoth were recently pulled out of a shallow lake in Russia's Arctic. Russian scientists are now examining the preserved bones of the adult mammoth that once roamed the Earth about 10,000 years ago. It was discovered completely by accident by local residents. They found part of its skull, some foreleg bones, and even a collection of ribs. But this has come as no surprise, as the Siberian region has been the epicenter for prehistoric animal bones in recent years, as the climate changes and the ground thaws and releases ancient bones from the permafrost. The researchers aren't clear right now how the mammoth died, but it's still a great new discovery to add to other recent finds, like the 18,000-year-old puppy found in Russia's Far East, and the 30,000-year-old mammoth fossils discovered in the same region. Number 8. The Bronze Age Cyborg. Treasure hunters operating in Switzerland recently uncovered the hand of what some are calling a Bronze Age cyborg. The hand in question is about 3,500 years old. It's made completely of bronze, and it has a gold cuff around the bottom. The archaeologists that discovered it are saying it's the oldest metal sculpture of a human body part ever found in Europe. But what's really strange is that researchers discovered a hollow pocket at the bottom of the hand, which suggests that it may have been mounted to another object. It could have been mounted to a scepter and used during complex rituals, or it could have been fitted to an amputee, serving as one of the earliest prosthetics in human history. The discovery was made by treasure hunters while combing the shores near Lake Beale with metal detectors. The hand was found alongside a bronze dagger and a rib bone, but nobody's entirely sure what all these pieces mean. Scientists were able to do radiocarbon dating on the glue still attached to the gold foil, revealing the hand was probably built in 1500 BC. But this discovery gets even more mysterious. After the hand was discovered, the archaeologists went back to the site later to see what else they could find. They ended up uncovering an ancient grave that likely belonged to the owner of the bronze hand. The grave had been built over top an even older structure, which means the mysterious Bronze Age part may have been used to cover up whatever the structure had been. This is one of the newest and most fascinating archaeological mysteries out there, and it has still yet to be solved. What do you think the actual purpose of this bizarre bronze hand was? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Number 7. Iron Age Settlement. An unexpected Iron Age settlement, complete with a Roman villa, was literally just discovered in Oxfordshire in the United Kingdom. A team of archaeologists working with dig ventures uncovered the unmistakable outlines of at least 15 roundhouses that had been constructed between 400 and 100 BC. Near these houses, the archaeologists also found hollow remains of a Roman villa that had been built over top of some of the Iron Age structures, with the villa dating to much later in the 4th century AD. Of course, there weren't actually any ruins discovered. What the team found were the remains of the structures. They found post holes, huge trenches where foundations had once stood, and even the gullies of a drainage system. The archaeologists also found ceramic storage jars for food and other commonplace artifacts. It's currently believed that the people who lived in the ancient roundhouses were farmers toiling on the land. Nobody is sure where they went or why they abandoned their settlement, but researchers are excited to find out. Number 6. Thousands of tombs. In 2021, thousands of tombs were revealed in Xi'an, the same archaeological site in China that is home to the legendary Terracotta Army, crafted in the 3rd century to protect the first emperor of China, Qin Shi Huang, during his arduous journey into the afterlife. But the discovery of these tombs are brand new. 3,500 previously unseen tombs are currently being excavated, all thanks to a new pair of metro lines being put in to connect the city with the airport. The tombs were found buried underground by construction workers, and now it's a mad dash to collect as many artifacts as possible before the modern construction goes ahead and destroys the historical remains. Unfortunately, we know basically nothing about who was entombed here. The South China Morning Post reported the discovery in late February, saying that archaeologists were currently working overtime to dig up the relics during the Lunar New Year. But there is literally no information on what other relics were found other than the tombs. We also don't know if there were any mummified remains. Researchers are being extremely stingy on information, so we might have to wait a few more weeks until researchers begin giving us the goods. But considering that Xi'an was the capital city of China for 1,100 years, archaeology enthusiasts are in for a big treat. Number 5. The Lions of London. A new archaeological discovery in the city of London has revealed that lions and hippos once roamed the English capital. Apparently, London was home to exotic elephants and big cats, though this was quite a long time ago. To give you a bit of history, London has been settled for about 2,000 years, ever since it was originally founded under the name Londinium by the Romans. And while London may only be 2,000 years old, it's generally agreed by experts that Britain itself has been occupied by humans for 30,000 years. But, according to a recent report from the Daily Mail, footprints were discovered near Norfolk in England that have been dated back to between 800,000 and 900,000 years ago, meaning human, or human-like, life existed on the British Isle far before we had invented language or mastered fire. But as for the hippos and lions, the bones of these ancient animals have been found throughout several different excavations in London, and even under Trafalgar Square, dating back to around 125,000 years ago. And now, thanks to a fascinating climate history stitched together by the Natural History Museum, showing when England was extremely hot before the last ice age, we know that there must have been a huge and almost incomprehensible history on the British Isle, going back further than we can imagine. There are no hippos swimming through the River Thames now, but there definitely were. Number 4. Ancient kangaroo painting. The oldest ever kangaroo painting in Australia has just been found, and it dates back 17,300 years. It was found in the Kimberley region of Western Australia, a part of the country that is not hugely settled and is populated with large mountain ranges and deep canyons. It's also home to thousands of amazing rock paintings left behind by the original indigenous people of the country. Professor Damien Finch with the University of Melbourne managed to date the fascinating kangaroo painting by using the radiocarbon signal from an ancient wasp nest found near the artwork. It was quite an ingenious way of figuring out how old the painting is, and now we know it's the oldest painted kangaroo in the world. But it was not alone. The researchers also discovered a handful of other strange, almost unidentifiable pictures. They found paintings of what appears to be a kangaroo mixed with a lizard, and they even discovered a painting of a snake nearly 4 feet or 1.2 meters in length. Thanks to these newest discoveries, it's now clear that those who lived in the region between 17,000 and 13,000 years ago were experimenting with a naturalistic style of painting. Number 3. Ancient Viking Sword. It's time to look at some very cool weaponry. An old Viking sword was discovered on the side of a Norwegian mountain, and researchers were finally able to deduce that it's 1,200 years old. The sword was actually stumbled upon by reindeer hunters in Norway while looking for game at high altitude. The sword was just kind of laying in and amongst the rocks, and it had been sitting there probably since 850 to 950 AD. The blade of the sword was definitely rusted. Any organic material like leather straps or wood adornments had long since disintegrated, but otherwise, the sword was extremely well preserved. The cold temperature and low pressure from the altitude prevented the blade itself from rusting and degrading too much. Of course, nobody knows exactly who this ancient blade belonged to or why it was left on the side of a mountain. Researchers are fairly certain that it belonged to a Viking swordsman, but that's really just an educated guess. One theory is that the sword was probably forgotten during a harsh blizzard, covered over in permafrost, and only revealed recently because of climate change and melting ice. And though we'll probably never know why exactly it was abandoned where it was, the discovery gives a fascinating glimpse into the past. Number 2. Massive Anglo-Saxon cemetery. An Anglo-Saxon cemetery of enormous proportions has just been unearthed, and it is giving researchers a unique look into the life of those who lived in ancient England. This happened in the small village of Overston, and according to the Vintage News, it is the biggest discovery of its kind in England. At least 154 Anglo-Saxon burials were inspected during an operation that lasted over a year. But amongst the bones were also 3,000 artifacts that probably belonged to the deceased, who had been trying to take their belongings with them into the next life. There were wrist clasps, rings, brooches, and at least 2,000 individual beads that could have been part of necklaces or other ancient accessories. Researchers have found cosmetic kits, as if the dead planned to freshen up a bit before stepping into the afterlife. But of course, there is a much darker side to this discovery. The archaeologists also uncovered blades, spears, and shields, indicating that the people were warriors in one sense or another. The burial ground dates back to the Bronze Age, and right next to it is a spectacular settlement from the same era, with at least 22 buildings spanning 4,000 years of complex history. Number 1. The Roman Chariot. An amazing Roman chariot was discovered at the end of February 2021 near the ancient ruins of Pompeii. Archaeologists are calling it a discovery with no parallel. This means it's a pretty big deal. The chariot was discovered almost fully intact, near to where 3 horses were discovered back in 2008, one of them still inside of its harness. It's doubtful that the horses were pulling the chariot when Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD and buried the town in ash and killed up to 15,000 people, but the two discoveries are definitely connected. They were found inside the same stable. What's truly amazing about the Roman chariot is that it still has its wheels, its iron components, its brawn and tin decor, and the imprints of the wood that had been used in its construction. Archaeologists even found the imprints of ropes, which is something that almost never ever happens. The discovery itself came about because of a program designed to fight illegal looting in the area, with looters digging tunnels to find previously undiscovered artifacts to sell them on the black market. Hopefully, more excavating in the coming weeks will reveal even more fascinating leftovers from Italy's Pompeii. Thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on these incredible discoveries? Let me know in the comments and be sure to hit the subscribe button for more awesome videos like this one.